If someone's not doing well in their job, it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a guy.
Right.
But it was a very supportive environment. The fact that it was the majority of us were women, it felt more open. Like we could talk about more things that, we go through as women in our personal lives, but also in the workplace, in a more male dominated field, like you wouldn't feel comfortable bringing those things up. So, I don't necessarily think we got any comments about, the fact that it was all girls and, oh my God, we're going to have cat fights. But we just didn't really care about that.
Yeah. And I like that you said that having that perspective allows equality, because, there are always multiple points of view. And so even though you came with a strong perspective on the publication, that you as the ringleader of the group were allowing for multiple perspective. That's pretty cool. And, if we move on to what you're doing now, reading your job description, I dare say I don't even know what a lot of it means. I know I'm going to let you explain in a minute, but it just says here on your CV, you are a demand generation manager with CloudSense, which is a Salesforce Platinum ISV partner that helps customer-centric companies reinvent the way they sell and deliver for their customers. And then there's more verbiage. I get part of it, of course, but what are you actually up to now?
So I, went from a small media startup and did a completely kind of 180. And now I work at a tech company. Tech is actually something that I always wanted to break into. I actually was doing a bit of it at Babe. I worked with our engineers a lot more on the marketing side. Mm-hmm. So demand generation manager is basically a fancy word for marketing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a new term in the space. There's no real kind of one thing that I do. So I joined CloudSense about 6 months ago, and I was only the second hire on the marketing team in the US. So that basically meant that I was responsible for a lot of different things across the board, which is what was attractive to me because that's what I was also responsible for at Babe, touching a lot of different parts of the process and the journey. So a bit more specialized, I focus on all our email marketing and our social marketing and try and raise awareness within our own network of contacts, but also grow our following and grow our potential prospects. And CloudSense is, like I said, a Salesforce Platinum partner, but that basically means that our product is built on Salesforce. It's not kind of standalone. And we work with large enterprise companies in the media and telecommunications space, as well as energy. We kind of cover a lot of different industries and are applicable in a lot of different spaces, but media and telecom are, like we like to say, bread and butter.
Well, cool. So, a lot of what you're actually doing is in the process of being invented and reinvented every week or two. So I imagine having to keep up, you have a very steep learning curve all the time. How do you handle that?
Yeah, that's honestly very true. I started my job at Tab Media not knowing anything about the media space. We launched Babe not really knowing anything about growing a media company. So the fact that I came to CloudSense not really knowing anything about the technology space or the B2B space, I kind of saw as a fun challenge. And that's how I've always approached any learning curve, because I personally feel that you're never done learning anything. And I always kind of I always tell myself, do the work, You're going to learn something new, and try and spin everything into a positive. But as far as getting through the learning curve, you just have to be open to anything. Ask all the questions, take in everything. Even, I was working at this company for 4 years, was responsible for so many different things and, really, really knew that space. But I had to kind of let my guard down a bit and kind of be open to learning from everybody on the team, and not going into something thinking that I was, because I had these 4 years experience, I was set. So just always be open to the learning curve, because I think that's what's going to get you through your career and really help you progress faster, is being open to whether it's, a career change or a new task that you haven't done before. But 6 months in, I'm entirely comfortable in the company, in the content, in our message. So, and I felt comfortable 3 months ago. So it really isn't that bad if you just are open to it and kind of work hard.
Well, cool. And kudos to you, because, women of my generation in general, we're a generation ahead of you in terms of life on the planet, have traditionally been much more hesitant to apply for positions where we don't think we have it all in the bag already. And of course, we found that male counterparts will say they can do it even if they don't have everything in the bag. And so, maybe that's just something generational, or maybe it's just you. But I think the empowered women of today really do have much more of a sense of agency, of self-efficacy, of willing to jump in as an equal to their male counterparts. What are some of the dynamics with males and females in the workplace, or is it really a non-issue?
Look, I think we've got a long ways to go to, fully see that equality. I think at least the women that I've worked with are very comfortable in, speaking up for themselves, but not only speaking up, but also knowing when the right time is to speak up. And I feel that's something that I personally do is, I'm not the type of person to just, immediately shout out, this is the way to do it. And, some people are, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But, I try and play the slow game, and because sometimes you're just not going to win. So, proving my point in different ways is kind of something that I like to do is, actually proving my point through results that I get. But, dynamics, I think, range. I'm lucky enough to have a female boss currently whom I'm learning a ton from, not only in my role, but also, the tech world is still a male-dominated field, and we are surrounded by a lot of salespeople. And, I'm really learning how to navigate that dynamic to get my point across, and, really make an impact and make people trust me. So in terms of, tips for that working environment is I always just tell people, be open to talking about that with your group of girlfriends, whether they're people at work, whether they're your friends outside of work, hearing about other people's situations with their male colleagues and how they went about them. One makes you feel that, you're not the only person in a certain situation, but also gives you tips on how to handle it the next time, you don't feel comfortable speaking up about something, things like that. So, keeping that communication open with your female colleagues.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, Eleni, our time together has already zipped to a point of closure. So I want to thank you so much. You're very inspiring. And I love from our previous conversations how you talk about choosing, for example, to be happy. And also you've given advice, or you would give advice to younger up and coming females about not planning too far ahead because things change, but have goals, but be, like you just said about learning, be open to learn new things, be open to change and pivot as is necessary. So I appreciate you slipping us into your very busy schedule. I know you're running off to a meeting as we speak. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to?
So I actually have a website. It's EleniMitzali.com. And you can also find a link to my LinkedIn there, my email there. And yeah, feel free to get in touch with me.
Super. And I'm going to spell that out. So that's www.Eleni Mitzali, which is ELENI, Mitzali, MITZALI.com, Eleni Mitzali. So, Efarasto, thank you so much for being with us today. And thanks also to our listeners for being on the show this week. We hope you gained some new insights, tools, or strategies for yourself, your family, people you know. We do have podcasts of past shows available on iTunes, SOB Radio Network, and you can also check out my website, GameChangerThinking.com, to find more resources and links to coaching sessions. So we look forward to seeing you or hearing from you and your friends next week on Living Legacy Leadership. And remember, the life you live is the legacy you leave. Bye-bye now.